you?
Trying to play catch up here, get the money in the account.
Yeah, we got a nice big check from Wagner.
I heard that, yeah. So we'll call the meeting to order at 18:06. And we'll start with citizens' comments. Nothing today?
Nothing today.
Okay.
I paid my bills.
You paid your bill. Perfect. Did you get the
Did you
internet?
pay in entirety? What happened?
I did. No, the whole thing. So you
I
can,
called my neighbor the
so
other
you can pay
day,
your bills.
and, we were talking about it, and I said, Clayton, I said, pay the whole thing, would you be a chump?
You know, it's a bad time of year to get a tax bill. I like November much better.
We're gonna make that happen
Agreed.
next year.
Next year.
Yeah. When you bill a wrapping company, anytime after August, you're up to the nines.
And your readers, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, we'll move on to, I guess Brian Lepold is gonna take over instead of Christian. You got a
Correct.
small presentation for us, I guess?
So Christian is with Somerset Economic Development Corporation. And I'm with Casco Bay Advisors. We're a consultant for SEDC. And we've been working with them for a number of years. Initially, trying to get internet out here to everybody, which we've concluded that project. And do you all have Fidium fiber here now?
No.
We are still on consolidated.
And has Fidium come through and built the network?
No.
Well,
I
the
can
line-
speak
the
as a
lines,
citizen about that. It is not available right
the
now.
lines seem to
Okay,
be up, but.
it's not at our house either,
The
so I
line's
don't
up,
know.
the connections aren't ready.
All right, so they're on the street then anyways. So they're.
Cable run, that's about it.
Yeah, all right. So this project called Municipal IT Support is being administered by Somerset Economic Development. And the funding comes from the NEC-EC corridor. So as part of the PUC stipulation, Hydro-Quebec agreed to contribute $10 million to a broadband fund. That when they originally negotiated it, the thought was that would help get broadband to everybody. By the time the corridor actually, got through all of its process, there was a solution for broadband for everybody. So, the stipulation was very specific as to what those funds could be used for. Christian was successful in getting, additional, uses for those funds since broadband has been deployed or is in the process of being deployed. So, this project is targeted to the 7 towns in Somerset County where the corridor passes through. In addition, he's also doing Bingham. Technically, it doesn't go through Bingham, but I think if the towers fell over, it would be in Bingham. It's that close. So the concept here is to assist the small towns with their IT infrastructure. And you guys are light years ahead of most. So your computers, are they the latest style computers, latest processors? Do they have enough memory? Are you running all of the latest software, so on and so forth? Do you have all the cybersecurity protection and antivirus and so forth?
I'm gonna say no to those questions.
Yeah.
Right.
We've recently been having issues with our computers just shutting down. They're Dell computers, and they are like within 3 years old, I believe.
All right.
I think they're pretty basic models though.
Yes, there's no, camera, so we can't do any remote meetings on those, and this computer I donated, to the town, and it doesn't even have like Microsoft products on it at all, so
Right.
this is, I'm using Google software, so this town definitely could use it.
So-
Well, right now, what we have is a company called API, a partner in technology,
Right,
and I believe that they, either, advised or facilitated the process of purchasing what is in there right now and also setting it up and maintaining it. We paying like $28 a month or something. And so, and I believe they do backups. I'm not 100% sure. Tried to get more information from them before you came, and I got no reply. They've just been bought out by some big nationwide
Ergos or
company.
something.
Ergos,
Yeah, and it
Ergos.
seems like they're, they're in a transition right now. They-
yeah, I'm very familiar with them, they actually take care of my computer,
Yeah.
and my software and so forth, and have for a number of years. But they were recently bought out by Ergos, I think,
Yes.
out of Texas.
Yep.
And who knows what's going to happen with all that, but typically, that's not always a good, outcome. But nonetheless, I've talked to them about this program. They may be one of the vendors that supports the program, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. The one vendor we are working closely with is Maine Technology Group
Yes,
out
that's
of Waterville.
right, and I think that's who Ben Toll
It
recommended.
is,
It is?
Yeah, they're larger
Yeah.
in terms of staff,
Yeah.
and they're
Local,
and, in my view, a little bit more progressive in how they go
Yeah.
about their
our
business.
machines don't have, they're not Bluetooth capable.
Alright, so on page 8 lists what our basic specs are going to be for the hardware and software. So,
Yeah, I was just reading that over, and that's well above and beyond what we employ here currently, so.
right, and we wanna get everybody onto Microsoft 365, partly because there's a lot of underlying capability there that helps you be in compliance with how you're supposed to be operating your IT infrastructure.
I don't know if, I mean, most municipalities, or a lot of municipalities use a program, Trio.
Right.
So.
You'll continue doing that.
Right, so that, one of the things, I mean, they just asked me today, they're following up on a conversation, we don't, purchase the module for, car registrations. And one of the reasons is because we haven't put it in front of the voters to actually pay for that additional, module, but it would be it would automate a lot of what we,
Right.
of the vehicle registration, and I'm hoping when we put it in front of the, town people this summer, that we will get that.
That's not
So-
related to Microsoft 365, right?
No,
No.
That's what he was
not
just
at
talking
all.
about.
it's on
Right.
page 10.
But I'm just saying, because Microsoft 365 may or may not be helpful to a municipality.
Think
That's
of
two
it
totally
as
different
for
things.
Word, Excel,
Yeah.
PowerPoint,
Right,
Outlook for your email. One of the things that a municipality is required to do is to retain all of its email for 10 years. And you also need to be able to respond to FOIA requests if necessary. You hope you don't get to that. But Microsoft 365 enables that seamlessly. And also combined with Microsoft SharePoint, then everything is located in the cloud, backed up on the cloud. And you don't have to worry about doing backups, it's all automatic.
So what we've done recently, just this year, in fact, as a minimum viable product that we could start to ease toward those, being compliant with those regulations, is we've used the Google Workspace
Right,
for business.
right.
And it satisfies all that, so, you know, Microsoft 365 is surely a more robust process. It would probably be painful to make another switch, but it would be a wise one to make.
And there are those that claim that the Google suite of services doesn't meet all of the stringent
It may not.
cybersecurity and so on and so forth.
It was the best we could afford and that we could get into right away.
Right, exactly, and so, the concept here is, how many workstations do you have, how many computers?
Two and her
Three.
laptop, right?
Yeah.
So three.
Three, so there's two desktops and a laptop?
Yes,
Alright, so this would be a fee per workstation, whether it's a laptop or a desktop.
So can you dummy this down just a little bit for me? You're saying that if we pay you a monthly fee, you are gonna maintain X, Y, and Z stations with all this information,
Yes.
all this,
Yes,
and maintain that, right? And it's just gonna be a monthly fee for how long?
pardon me?
For how long of a period, is it a contract?
You're gonna be able to get out of it, if you don't wanna continue with it, you can
Okay.
drop it at any time.
Okay, So-
This,
go ahead.
we're not trying to force anybody to do anything, this
Yep.
is to
Yep.
support and assist. And
What's
for,
that fee?
we haven't determined it yet,
Okay,
alright? I know what the top end is right now,
Yep.
but we're getting around to all of the towns, we're doing assessments, and then we're gonna come back and say, alright, here's the universe of what we have.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna start negotiating. I'm trying to get some of those fees down a little bit further. But the concept here is the first year, any incremental expense that you have with this program is covered by the broadband fund. So you're not gonna need for that first year to go to the voters. This is all gonna be taken care of.
so that's upgrading equipment?
Yes, yep. It's the hardware and the software.
So the
So
fee would
even-
just be, go ahead, sorry,
It'll be a fee per workstation.
for the maintenance of it via a subcontractor like Main Technology?
Correct.
Okay,
And if the hardware fails, they replace it.
okay.
is the software just the Office three
No,
sixty-five?
it's this list.
Do you have this? right
Okay.
here? Do you have a copy of this?
Page 8.
Okay,
Or, and 10, she's more concerned about page 10. Page 10 is gonna explain what she's.
Page 10 is
okay, so
the,
there is Trio, isn't?
Yes,
Oh,
that's why,
okay,
so
Yep.
it has the tax mapping, the trio,
Yeah, now, you're jumping ahead of me here.
I'm sorry. She's asking questions and I'm trying to help.
Yeah, yeah, we're
Understand
gonna,
it's there.
I, a big, yeah,
yeah, we're not, you're gonna continue with all your applications, and if you send me an email, let me know what is the incremental cost for that module.
mm-hmm,
Send that to me and we'll factor that into our budget.
that would be awesome, yeah, I do have a quote,
So then also, you have Wi-Fi in here,
yes,
alright, and you have CCI's internet, but you're gonna upgrade to Fidium when it's available, presumably.
yeah, presumably,
So this would include management of the site. So it would be managing that internet, have a switch that anything can be plugged into. I had some other stuff on here, the firewall, but this same company would manage all of this. So if there's a problem, you just pick up the phone and they're gonna fix it either online, or if they need to dispatch, they're going to dispatch and come and fix it.
one of the things that we, and maybe I'm getting way ahead of you again, is that we have, Trio, and we have the web version, we just switched over to that
That's
in
good.
June, and so what happens though, is that when we go into Trio, it will like spin just endlessly, so that we can't even log into Trio.
That's because you have lousy internet.
I did a speed test for them, on Wednesday, and I sent it to Trio, because we have a ticket open now to figure out why
Right.
that's happening. But all of our other programs are working, so I'm not sure,
Well,
not sure what it is.
they would-
In any case,
this would all get solved for you.
yeah, that'd be, good.
But
And-
this all takes the place of what we're doing right now with API. I mean, it's a.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, now, API could be another main technology group.
Mhm.
We're
We
not
just don't know
looking
yet.
to displace anybody unless you guys wanna change.
Yeah, we don't know, we have to find out if we have a contract with them.
That's what I was trying to find out. I called twice, left messages, they never got back to me, but I didn't know if we did or not have a contract.
I doubt it. So, that's the hardware, that's the network in the building, website. You guys have one of the best websites, in the area.
Thank you
Only,
so
only
much.
recently.
Right, so
Through
we
the
have
hard work
a,
of these people.
right, we have a.
Can you say that again?
Yes.
After everything we went
We-
through?
Good job, Susan.
Right, Catalyst is the, whatever, the software that is used to maintain our website. We actually do have a contract with, a person who manages it for us. We feed him information, he updates it, we sort of, go back and forth in terms of what it looks like and what's available, but, we try very hard to keep that current and.
Yeah, so they are one of a few website developers that specialize in municipalities.
Catalyst, right,
Yes.
yeah.
Another one is called Civic Plus,
Okay.
and that's the one that we've chosen to partner with. One of the reasons is that it's incredibly simple for you to update the content yourself.
Yeah.
With Civic Plus. You don't have to send it to somebody else. They have a portal that allows you to automatically update. But you don't have to change. You can stay with the website you want.
Again, we have a contract with, Peter Coughlin and Catalyst for, I think, another year. Or
Okay.
at least.
What was the one that you
another-
called it?
It's called Civic Plus. It's on page 10.
Okay.
Civic Plus, we're trying to work with Maine-based companies, but for this application, I couldn't find anything anywhere near as good as this. And they're based out of Kansas. But they would be very, very responsive. If you go to the Lisbon, Maine website, they use Civic Plus.
Okay, would
That's on
you
here.
guys be, moving everything on our current website, or,
If you want us to.
right,
Yeah.
okay,
You might decide, you know what, we're just gonna stay with the website we have, and that's okay.
right.
Basically, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is you're gonna take, we pay this one here, we pay this one here, we pay this one here to manage the website, we pay Trio, we do this. You wanna come in here and take all those different entities and put it into one basket, and we'll pay you, and you're gonna handle all the logistics out of that.
Yeah, so let me just clarify when you say you.
Well, excuse me, yeah.
I'm
Not
facilitating,
you, yes, I
I'm
understand
facilitating
that,
and
yeah.
project managing.
Yeah, right.
And ideally, you would have one check to cut per month for your share of it.
Right.
And you'd have one phone number or two phone
Rather
numbers.
than having one for Peter, one for Google, one.
Catalyst, we have to
Catalyst,
pay for our
that's-
web
that-
hosting.
Essentially, that's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, that's the concept, is to make
Okay.
this simple for you
So when
guys.
you,
Go ahead, that's
when
fine.
somebody, when the price comes up, our duty would be to take that price, add up to what the other ones all come in as, and present that to the people and say, hey, look, we have this one management group that will take care of all this, this is what we pay, and this is how we have to go through it and track, and see, compare the two numbers, and pitch, how much work it is, how much less work it will be for this.
And we'll help you with that.
Yep.
Are you going to the West Forks too, and,
I wanted to be there at 4 o'clock today, but they were too busy.
cause
So-
I'm doing their website and just as a volunteer,
Yeah, so we're not gonna get to them until sometime in January at this point.
Okay, yeah.
But, anyways, some of the things that I didn't realize is, did you know that your website needs to be ADA compliant?
How does a
Technically.
website become ADA compliant?
Colors and font,
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can get a pretty big lawsuit for it if somebody was
Mhm.
bored enough.
I'm learning a lot through this
I
process.
did not know that.
You know, make sure the website can be read on any device, a laptop, iPad, a phone, what have you, that should all be automatic. If you wanted, you can add notifications, so you could track, and when you wanted to notify your constituents, an email blast could go out, or a text, or what have you. There's a lot of other add-on features to it, if you
Yeah.
wanted to utilize those. Probably not something that you would wanna do
Well,
for this, but you may.
you may, we just had an instance this past week where it would have been nice to notify people in the town, but, Peter said Catalyst can do that.
Probably can.
And first we'd have to, make sure that people want to be notified.
Yeah, they have to opt in or
Yeah, that's
opt out.
Exactly.
So who's the overseeing entity is Somerset Economic Development Corporation?
Correct.
So that would be the agency that is assisting with the transitions,
Yes.
if hypothetically, if we're switching from Catalyst to Civic Plus or, API to Main Technology Group, they would assist in that transition.
That's correct. And that's where Casco Bay Advisors comes in, is we facilitate all of that
Okay,
and project manage it.
okay,
But I can't spell IT. I can pull things together, but you don't want me getting into your computer and doing stuff.
Right.
So another area is if you wanna record your meetings, which you're doing right now, there is a company called Town Hall Streams based out of York, Maine, that we're partnering with, and they do this for a lot of municipalities in Maine, is they'll come in, install a camera and microphones in your ceiling. When you wanna have a meeting, you just go online to a portal, schedule the meeting. When the meeting starts, you go and hit a flip switch on the wall, camera turns on. When the meeting's over, you turn the switch off, and that video automatically gets updated to your website. So there's no manual intervention, with managing that process. Again, if you wanna see what that looks like, go to Lisbon, Maine, they use Town Hall Streams, and it's on their website. And essentially, it's a link on their website that takes you to Town Hall Streams website, and they keep all of the recordings for all of your meetings for up to 5 years. So you can go back, if you want a transcription, they have an AI-enabled transcription, that will take what we're talking about here now and put it into minutes for you. So again, it's designed to be super, super simple. And there's unlimited number of meetings. Where do you guys vote? In this room?
Yes.
yes.
What I'm learning is you can't have cameras in where you vote.
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
I gotta talk with Town Hall Streams to figure out, okay, how do we handle that? Because you don't want a camera in the room.
No,
So maybe it's not mounted in the ceiling, maybe it is a little bit of a mobile.
Right,
unit or
something you
something.
bring in and out.
Yeah,
Or at least on election day.
or at
Something
least
that
you
can be
can,
moved once a year.
maybe you can put it on the wall
Yeah,
and unplug it and remove it for election day.
yeah.
So, and I don't know what you're doing, how that's working out, it may be working out fine for you. We're not saying you need to do this, it's available if you want.
sure, yeah.
And that would all be part of the same monthly fee, or is that?
No, that's a separate fee, the website's a separate fee.
Oh, I see.
Right. So you're gonna be able
It will
to,
all be broken down so that we
Yes.
can pick and choose on
Right.
that
it's an
menu.
à la carte type thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And those particular individual fees for each service are still uncertain.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I know what the high end is, I wanna get it lower. And we're, in essence, we're bringing business to these vendors, and we're bringing it in bulk. We want a discount. And that gets passed through you guys, so, that's the concept. Now, the concept is, again, first year, we cover 100% of the incremental cost. The second year, we cover 50% of that incremental cost. The third year, 25% of the incremental cost. The concept is to allow you to get through one or two annual meetings. So if you need to, gradually bring up the expense or what have you. The other thing is, there may be more funding come available to support this at a higher percentage and for longer. So, I mentioned the $10 million broadband fund, that's largely gonna be going between Somerset and Franklin County. It comes in $2 million a year for 5 years. So, depending on what other items come up that they wanna spend it on, but there could potentially be more funding available. As well as funding through other sources. So, the idea here is to enable you to have the same functionality and features as any other town in the state of Maine, including Bangor or Portland or whomever, that you shouldn't be disadvantaged just because of your size.
And really theoretically, all those transitions would happen in the first year,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that would be covered 100%.
Yeah, and the non-recurring conversion costs are 100% covered,
Yeah,
so,
and all the hardware and
Right.
software, I
right.
mean, that's gonna stay,
Now, if they come in and they take a look at the hardware and they say, this workstation meets the specs, it'll stay here. It'll
Yeah.
become part of the program, but if the next week it breaks, they'll replace it.
Yeah.
And then the concept is the hardware gets replaced every 4 years, as part of this program. So that you're not working with obsolete hardware.
But that, excuse me, unless some funding changes, that fourth year, that would be left to the town people to, fund the upgrade. Is that correct?
No, it'd be left to the town to fund the monthly fees.
Oh, so the upgrades will, every 4 years are covered under the,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, but it's almost like a lease, but
no,
not.
yeah.
It's a managed service. So
So you do,
when the software needs to be updated, they do that automatically. They run routines twice a week to check your software, and if it needs to be updated with a new patch, it gets updated. It's unlimited help desk. So you're not worried about, I gotta call them, but I don't wanna spend another $150. That's all included.
so this help desk is gonna be manned with 100 people, cause it sounds like.
Part of this, the strategy here is because all of the computers are gonna meet a certain spec, all of the software meets a spec and is up to date. Your site network is modern and up to date, and they can manage it remotely. They even include a print server that's cloud-based that eliminates the inevitable, 80% of the troubles are people trying to get to print something. Well, they've got an application that eliminates that problem. So you don't need 100 people on a help desk when you've got everything coordinated and modernized and up to date.
And if you call with a problem, that person will ask you the credentials, sign onto your computer, and take over and work from
Exactly.
there.
Are
So
you-
and API does this, offers the same type of,
Oh, right.
service. I mean, they have to get into my computer every now and then. Most all companies do. We're setting this up to be, all encompassing and simple, for the town. Do you have a fire station here?
Yes.
And does it have a computer?
No.
No,
Okay. And does it have internet?
no,
Be great if it did.
I don't think I'd run any more.
No, it'd be great if it did though. There may be some changes in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, some of the bigger
Big
towns,
changes.
Yeah.
we were at Anson the other night, and, I think they have a full-time fire chief.
They do.
And there's all kinds of reporting that they have to do, and training records, and so on and so forth. But they're covering fire protection for multiple towns out there as well, so.
West Forks manages the fire department, with located in West Forks.
Yeah, they cover us, we pay them.
Right.
I
So,
like the concept, I deal with it from my employer all the time. When we get some numbers together, we could compare the two and make a sales pitch. We can't do anything, make any commitments till June at our annual meeting anyway, so if we could get our information together before June, I'm on board with it. I like the fact that it would make a lot of our jobs easier, dealing with one person rather than having 7 different phone numbers, 7 different people to contact, 7 different checks to write. I mean, as long as we can make the numbers work, the townspeople, because this is a very small town, not very financially, well off, so dollars matter, but that's the biggest thing.
But to be clear though, we would still, we would still pay Trio separately,
yes,
and our website separately, and our,
it depends. Well, yes, because if you stay
Still have a
with your current
contract with-
but
website.
even if we went to Civic Plus, that's a separate fee, right?
It remains to be seen, but we might roll it all up in together,
Oh,
give
okay.
you an itemized statement per
Oh, okay,
month.
great.
Or maybe it's gonna be an annual statement,
Okay.
or, what have you.
And are you, of course, we know that it's fluid, but are you willing to share what that high end is?
Not right now.
That's okay, I won't make you, I was just curious, just to see if it's.
Save you a lot of time if it's real high.
None of this comes cheap.
I know, yeah.
We don't.
We have no money.
It will take us some legwork to pull all the parts and pieces together for us to get one number
Yeah,
to compare it with.
Yeah, and I would like you to start looking at that.
Yeah.
Because this concept is we pay the incremental cost, not the entire cost, in that first year. So, in other words, if you have an IT line item in your budget, which you probably don't, but, what are you paying right now on an annual basis? And then it's everything above that. So, we will probably wanna come back and take a look at your computers, given how you've described them.
I think Christian said in his initial email that was one of the things he wanted to do.
Yeah, so that will occur, and who would we coordinate that with?
With me, I'm the
All right.
clerk, so I'm here every Wednesday afternoon. I think I've already corresponded with, Christian about timeframes and stuff, but I don't think we've set anything up yet.
Yeah, at this point, it's gonna be, probably after the first of the year.
Yeah.
And then, once we perform all the assessments, we're gonna put our plan together, we put all the budgeting together, we do some negotiating with the vendors, and then we're gonna come back and present it to you. And see, what components you wanna move forward with, and so forth, and because covering the incremental cost, you don't necessarily need to wait until your annual meeting, because it's no additional
Right.
cost to you. But that's entirely up to y'all. And then we could get started implementing, say, in the February, March timeframe, so.
Well, we would be committing to a higher price at some point in the future, because the incremental cost coverage reduces it to nothing eventually. So-
Correct, but there's not gonna be a term with this program.
Okay,
So if you wanted to.
So say that the program, we go through the whole steps, we get through the 3 years, we get all new hardware, all new setup, this and that, we decide we want to, the rates higher than the people wanna pay. You come back in and take all your hardware away?
No, we would probably, Main Technology Group would probably say, here's the fair market value, you buy it. If it's a 3-year-old machine, the fair market value is gonna be pretty low.
so the incremental coverage part, I'm interpreting that to mean that there isn't, this isn't going, isn't intended to reduce our IT costs in any way.
No,
It's,
Your
it's
IT costs are
it's
gonna
assuming
go
it's
up.
going to go up
right. But,
for the better service,
exactly,
and this helps defray that cost for 3 to 4 years.
right.
And this includes our internet provider?
No, that's,
That's
but-
100% different, sure,
but-
a separate cost,
but under this site fee, they'll manage that for you.
right?
All right, so what's your internet cost you today?
I'm not 100% sure.
I'd have to go look at the.
Denise would know, but she's running reports right now.
Right. It's probably at least $50.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Well, the Fidium price is really great. So when you convert over to the Fidium fiber, the price is not gonna increase.
But there'll be a $5 mandatory fee.
I'm sorry?
There'll be a 10% mandatory fee.
Well, yeah,
Percent.
for the site, yeah.
Okay.
Right. But that includes the Wi-Fi, everything.
So my question is, if we don't go with this program, do we get any of the money from the,
No,
we don't get any, so we only go with your program, or we don't get anything? I'm not being rude, I'm
No.
just trying to clarify it in
Yeah.
my mind.
I had that question as well.
Yeah,
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 and-
I mean, if we just stay with what we've got, and we just need new equipment,
then there's a possibility you would get new equipment. So, but we haven't defined all that yet.
yeah, it doesn't seem like that we would get anything if we can't afford to go with the program.
Let us come back
Yeah,
on that.
Consolidated, right?
But the way we got this through, there's like 10 parties to the stipulation, of which 4 of them have responsibility for providing oversight on the broadband fund. We had to go to them and get them to sign off on this as being an eligible program. If we wanna do something different, or additional programs, we have to go to them and get their approval. So that's the governor's office, that's DECD, that's Maine Connectivity Authority, and there's one other, I think the Energy Office. So it's not a simple thing.
well, I didn't anticipate it would be simple, it just doesn't seem fair.
Well,
That's the government, all
Well, no, I
all
just
government
said-
funds
yeah, but it
require
doesn't seem to be a
administration. I
government
don't
thing,
agree
it's-
with it either, but
No, it's,
they're not,
it's,
that $10 million that they gave up because of the concession on the corridor, they're not just gonna give it out, they're gonna make it how they wanna give it out.
now,
I'm
we'll
not,
see-
and
we'll-
I'm not
we'll
opposed
see.
to the program, I just wanted clarification.
yeah, we'll see how much flexibility we can get, and that's really gonna be up to Christian Savage at Somerset Economic
Yeah.
Development. So, you know, if you had brand new computers right now, maybe he would say, you know what, let's reimburse you for those computers and then you get on this program.
Yeah, well, we don't.
But,
Far from it.
but you would be getting, if you get on the program, upgraded computers.
But we don't get anything if we don't do the program through this.
Not through this program, that's
Program.
correct.
That's what's sticking in my throat. Because I don't know if we can afford it. We're in a very bad financial situation, not due to any of these people's fault. But
Okay.
they're digging their way out of it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I'm a resident and I,
It's a legitimate question.
if you would come, I don't know, 5 years ago even, we had all kinds of money.
But the hope is that by the time we have to foot the bill for these improvements,
We
Will
will
be.
have,
4 years
Right.
down the road from the position we're in now.
that's right,
Right.
the new and improved forms.
I like the concept, we just need some,
Some big-
So you need numbers.
we need numbers.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's,
To be able to even entertain to move forward.
It's fun
I
to
do
window
like the
shop.
concept, I mean, it's a lot easier.
It's fun to window shop though.
Yeah.
other questions?
No, I'm
All
good.
right.
No, I think so. That
So-
was really informative, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll be back to talk to you about coming in and doing an assessment and then, to, do a presentation.
Thank you very much.
Great, Brian, thank you for
Thank you.
taking the time and making the
Yes.
drive.
Yeah,
No
safe
problem.
travels, all right?
Yeah, thank you.
It's gonna slick up.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to,
I happen to see that Lisbon's town meeting was right now. So I went to click another live stream in 2 different browsers, and the file won't work.
Oh, that's interesting.
On town hall streams.
okay, let's move on to number 3, agreement to maintain the lifelike pad. That was, that came from the OCR.
Do you have that docket? Where
I
was
think it's
it?
on the table, I'll look
Still on
at
the
it.
table?
You have one right here?
And get the warrant.
I'll get it.
Nope.
I just wanted to get the warrant as well. Bring that in.
I was trying to get all our tax payments in, and it's
Nice.
like,
Yeah.
spinning,
Was
spinning.
was everything in the Wagner envelope accounted for?
No.
What in the world? It was, so there's a problem there, because it came, when I took it out of
Yes,
the box, it
so-
was open.
There were 3 of the little white slips that were missing.
Huh,
Yes, so I don't know how,
well, it was open, it could have fallen out.
yeah, so I'm thinking 3 fell out, so that's what I was trying to do, cause they didn't match. So I had to go through and figure out which ones
Oh
were
my
paid,
goodness.
yeah,
And that was a lot of them.
yeah.
So the check was for more than what those slips added up to,
Yes.
because there were 3
Yes,
missing.
yeah. So I found the 3 that were missing, and I got those all in, but now I'm spinning, so.
I'm glad I mentioned it, because I went to
Yes.
open it with the letter opener, and I was like, this envelope's already open.
Yep.
And that's a big check, and this envelope, it's already open.
Yep, so there were 3 slips.
But it seems as though all the checks are accounted for.
There was only one
Oh, only
check,
one check,
but a
okay.
stack of slips
Right,
this
so you
thick.
gotta know what to apply to each specific.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I'm sure there's an easy way to figure it out, but I don't have that
Always something.
trio training yet.
that is correct. All right, so, we're on number 3, the agreement to maintain the lifelike pad. This came from the amendment to the lease between Central Maine Power Company and the Forks Plantation and Old Canada Road, Scenic Byway. The lease between CMP and the Forks Plantation and the, OCRSB dated September 30th, 2016. The lease regarding the Forks Scenic Trail on property situated on the westerly side of the Route 201 in the Forks County of Somerset, State of Maine is hereby amended as follows. Section 4G, use of leased lot. The Forks and OCRSB may utilize a portion of the leased premises for emergency helicopter landing zone, provided that the Forks and OCRSB take full responsibility to maintain aerial clearances and the upkeep and maintenance of the landing zone. Further, the Forks and OCRSB may coordinate with the Life Flight of Maine to utilize a portion of the lease lot as a landing zone by licensed emergency rescue agencies, Life Flight of Maine, or another authorized medevac helicopter, as shown on Exhibit A. All other terms and conditions of the lease shall remain the same. So this is saying that they're asking us, or, and in conjunction with the OCRSB, just to maintain the life flight pad, correct? Not the trail,
Right,
okay.
but it's, I was honestly surprised to see that come through. I know that there is at least a quorum of folks on the OCR board that, you know, you notice it says we may use it as a life flight pad,
Yeah,
as if, you know, implying that we desire to. And that question came up at the beginning of this planning process for this project, for that trailhead.
mhm.
Is there even a legitimate landing pad there anymore? Has it been used ever, you know? And that we couldn't find any evidence, for its necessity, for its routine use. And there's at least a quorum of folks on that board that don't see a need to have a life flight landing pad there with Crusher, with the ball field, with,
So Crusher is a landing zone?
we brought people there before. They
Where did they,
According to Brookfield, that, I don't believe that is one.
But the other thing is, almost the entirety of 201 is wide enough for a life flight helicopter to land on,
okay,
so,
yeah.
so it's,
Not disputing that part, I'm just
Yeah.
talking about the actual.
I guess I'm not certain, maybe I can't say with certainty that it's
Yeah.
a licensed landing zone, but, you know, that motorcycle accident this summer, we life
Yeah.
flighted him out of there.
I think they
That's
land
what-
wherever they can land when it comes to, emergency evac. But I know for, like I say, Brookfield, I know, cause I just went to the Dead River one, yesterday. And I know, like, on the takeout road, I have to go to that one, and I personally have to make sure that they're maintained.
Yeah.
And basically, that's just cutting brush back, so the
Right.
helicopter doesn't,
It's 180 feet or something like that,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's not a huge task. However, I don't know if I really like the way this reads either. May utilize a portion of the leased premises.
Well,
And, and I also, wanna make sure that if we're gonna do this, or even if there is a need for that helicopter pad, I don't know who started that, because they keep it plowed for that reason. Don't they, or they keep it plowed for the,
I don't think so. They plow the lot, but they don't plow into the field where
I
the
see.
landing zone is in the grass
Oh, just under.
beyond the parking lot.
Oh,
And, you know, I think, is it highlighted on that? Yeah, the green, see the green circle?
Oh, yeah,
there?
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the landing zone. And I don't really, you know, I'm not sure why, you know,
Who
the
dedicated it? Usually?
right,
Yeah.
and the OCR has, you know, invested and committed
Yeah.
to maintaining that entire area. So I'm not sure why the town would become involved to maintain 180 circular square
Right.
foot area in the middle of it. OCR is already gonna be maintaining everything around it.
Okay,
So I don't know why, I'd have to, maybe there's some requirement that the municipality has some involvement in the maintenance of it, because it's an interagency thing, and it
So-
can't just fall on some nonprofit that's not connected to
okay.
a municipality.
can I, just, when Bob called us up, he is concerned with the money that is, the grant coming from federal government, I think.
Yep.
He was concerned that if there's a helicopter pad, like, in the verbiage of the grant, that it would just put like a wrench in the whole grant, and so he pretty much wanted us to sign it and just like, under the radar, just say, so that the helicopter pad wasn't going to be a consideration for this grant. That was why he asked.
This would solidify it as a consideration for the grant. This is making it permanent in the CMP lease that there will be a helicopter pad there that will be maintained.
He wanted us to sign off on this so that it was no longer a consideration for, I guess, whoever else was going to be the one who might, if it was gonna be Old Canada Road, or I don't know who else was going to be the person who would take care of that site. Anyway, that's my understanding why he asked us to.
So why don't we table this till we get a little more information?
I can, yeah, let me reach out to, Bob or Becky
Okay.
and get some more clarity on it, because
And how about,
if we don't feel the need to have a helicopter pad there, then I don't think we need to have a helicopter pad there. You know, and I don't
Right,
know,
you don't need to maintain, or have it in the lease that you have.
right, we can
Cause
just,
maintain's a pretty broad statement.
It is.
I mean,
well, I
does that mean
asked
you
Bob,
have
what
to,
are the
down the road,
standards?
you have to tar it or pave it,
no,
or
it doesn't,
who
no,
knows?
it's,
I asked Bob, what are the standards, you
Right.
know, for maintenance, he goes, and, you know, what are
Right.
life flight of main standards for their
Right.
site, he goes, they don't know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I can
well,
tell you-
why would I sign on to
And once
to
that's in
maintain
writing
the
in that
standard that I don't
lease,
know
oh
what
my
the standard
gosh,
is?
who
I
knows
can
down the
tell you
road?
what we have to do for Brookfield, and I have to inspect it, twice a year. And we have to make sure that the vegetation is cut back to whatever it is, 180 feet. And so basically, so a helicopter can land. And that's pretty much it. And they have a level, place so they can land. It's not huge. I went in there with brush cutters because nobody had maintained the one on the takeout road for like 5 years, and I went in there with just hand cutters, and I did that one a couple of years ago.
You
So-
Carry Brook?
Yeah,
Or whatever,
Carry Brook,
halfway,
yeah.
whatever.
Just above the parking lot.
Well, I think the other question is, looking at a bigger picture with the light flight of Maine and the emergency rescue services, whether we really even need a helicopter pad there. And if we don't need a helicopter pad there, why would we sign on to maintain something that we don't even need?
Totally agree.
and
So that
speaking
would
from
be-
the perspective of the Old Canada Road, there's a quorum of board members there that would be happy to hear that.
Yeah,
That would be great, then we don't have to worry about incorporating it into our plan for that southern trailhead.
And to be honest with you, if there was an emergency, they're gonna land there anyway.
Exactly.
right, right.
Who's gonna make that decision though? Who's,
I don't know who made the decision to actually have one there.
I know, me either.
You know, so somebody would need to find out from who initiated that, who petitioned to have it there.
What the
And is it
history of it
needed?
is, yeah,
Right.
and again, Life Flight might be able to provide us with some information about, on their end. you know what
I
mean?
think we did a little bit of due diligence from the OCR side, and they didn't know, in fact, when, I'm just going off memory here, this is several meetings ago, but I feel like I remember Bob saying, I called Lifeline about this pad, and nobody I talked to seemed to realize that there was a landing pad there at all.
Let me,
But they used it this summer for
No,
that motorcycle.
No, that was Crusher, we flew him out of Crusher.
Oh,
let me reach out
That's
to the
what I was just
Brookfield people and see if there's an actual, map, registered, with Life Flight or whatever, and then if I can get a contact. I have a couple people I can talk to.
Well, then you wonder what kind of liability you have if in someone's estimation it isn't maintained properly, if something comes up, you know.
Right, yeah.
Then, because it's like in a lease, I mean, that's really serious.
Well,
You need
that's-
a
yeah.
lease, yeah.
That's CMP, making sure they don't have
That's
liability
right,
if the
that's
helicopter
right.
tips
And I
over.
would think you would have to maintain any roads that go in there, cause rescue
Anything.
vehicles would have to get in there.
That's why I was plowing my way
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
I don't know
Dead
why we,
River freaking takeout down at Whiskey Springs. Good
they're
change.
gonna find a place to land if they have to. you
Yeah.
so who are you
Can't they shut
going
down
to? You said you
201
were
and-
going
I mean, the
to,
ball field's
I'm gonna
not
talk
that far
to
no,
Brookfield representative, and I'm not sure who I'll start with. Probably start with, Ernie DeLuca.
And I'll talk to Bob and or Becky, and I'll also try to get a contact with Lifelight and get some information on it. And
okay,
I'm of the mindset that if we don't feel compelled to have a Lifelight pad there, I don't think we need it.
And I
And
can
that's
get
speaking as a member of the
solutions.
fire department, I want there to be access to emergency services as much as anybody in the
Right.
town,
Okay,
and I think that access is plentiful.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna table that, and we're gonna do a little more research. You all set, Susan?
yes,
Okay, move on to number 4, the ARPA update.
Very brief, I haven't made much headway. It turns out that there is a, universal problem with accessing the portal, and it's like been shut down,
Yeah.
and nobody knew that, but it has been, and they are offering some, online, it's like an online town meeting type thing where they're helping communities, file, their, commit, I forget the exact word, the funds, but almost everything all of it refers to, lost income during COVID, okay? And I have no idea how I could ever determine whether the town somehow lost income during COVID, okay? So again, in West Forks, I talked to Lloyd and Linda, and they're kind of in the same dilemma. And basically, what Lloyd told me the other day, he goes, I think they're gonna get their money back, and he says, and I'm not giving it till they come begging for it.
Yeah.
But that would appear to be, this whole process is so convoluted, and that we're not the only municipality that have a lot of
Okay.
problems with this.
So let's
And
get,
meeting whatever the standards are, and again, right now, this education piece is like, to how to get, file for lost income, and like, I don't know if we lost income, it was back in 2021, and I can't, I'm like, how could we have lost
What type of income
income?
would we lose?
That's
All
what
our
I'm
income
saying.
comes from taxpayers.
Right, so I don't, what
And they still
the
have to
seminars
pay
their
don't
taxes.
apply to our situation. So this is an ongoing thing, and then it's something about in April, they'll reopen the portal and
okay,
this and that, so
so this is
basically,
basically the generator money, is what we're talking about.
Right.
So,
that,
go ahead.
right, they gave us money, we, and the voters agreed, this is what we're gonna do with the money, we're gonna put it towards the generator, okay?
Well, in the interest of the voters, let's earmark that money until April or May when that portal opens, because we don't wanna go investing, and not that we can at the moment anyways, we've already tabled the generator for whatever.
Right.
We decided to give it back. Let's earmark it until that happens, because, we don't wanna spend it and then have them come back for it and have to pay the full price. So let's,
Right,
I think,
it's just one of these things, I'm trying to tell everybody,
Yeah.
based on what I know,
Yeah.
it looks like it's gonna come down to, at some point, we're gonna have to give the money
yeah,
back.
so,
Or
But
get a generator.
no, they're gonna come back for a period.
Because it
No,
needed to be
see,
used by a
Right,
certain
so that was
date.
used, that money, what we decided, I think, and the voters approved, we're gonna use that money to offset the cost of the generator.
Offset it.
That's
Right,
what
but
we're
we
gonna
never
put
had the
towards.
money to do it.
We never had the money to buy a generator
Right.
because, right. So, that whole thing's on hold until next year, so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Anyway.
that would be the money that you lost.
Right, so let's make sure that we have somewhere, I think we talked about starting a notebook for our next meeting. That we put a note in for next year's meeting addressing the fact that we ran into this snag
Right,
about the money, and that's why we're not going through with the generator. And we'll have to raise or appropriate the remainder of the money.
yeah, probably from taxes, that $3,400, because we're gonna
To
end
get
up
the,
giving it
what
back.
the offset
And it may-
part of it.
Right, and it may be a little bit more because,
We'll have to get another quote,
another quote, that's what Craig told me, it ran out at the end of September, so.
absolutely.
He says, I think the generator's probably gonna go up in cost, and so, that expired.
But let's put that, Susan, are you keeping that,
I've got the list open
you've
right
got the
now.
list right now?
Is this a federal program?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you just restate for me what you want for this?
So, basically, explaining the fact that, well, the money that was, gonna be given to us by the
It was
state,
given.
It was given.
that was given to us,
It's $3,400.
to offset, the 3,400 that was given to us to offset the cost of the generator is probably going back to the state because of,
To the feds.
Federal government.
because of the federal government requirements. And we're gonna have to raise, appropriate, or see if the people will, come up with that money.
Right.
The $3,400,
Yeah.
or whatever 3,400 plus the increase in,
Overall cost.
yeah, in estimate.
So, I just trying to prepare everybody's, for the fact that we're,
Sure.
Jumping through hoops and you're not getting nowhere.
Well, that's federal government, and that's part of this whole, even the broadband stuff, I mean.
Well, I got something from MMA, and they were just like, well, we wish we wish we'd known this before, it's just come out in the last couple of weeks, and, nobody can get into the porthole, it's been shut down, it's just,
Well, if you follow any of this federal government stuff, they're trying to get a lot of that, they lost a lot of funding, traceability, a lot of COVID money, and they're trying to get a lot of it back, because it was mismanaged.
yeah,
I
And,
think.
Yeah.
well, we might be getting ours back, not because we mismanaged it, but the process.
no, because
for-
they mismanaged
Right.
the way they
Right.
distributed it.
Well, it sounds like they distributed it without being clear about what was required.
That's what,
Exactly.
thank you.
And then they figured out that after the fact.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you've gotta do this, that, and the other thing in order to, or you've gotta give it back.
Yeah.
It's like very,
So to this running list of potential warrants for the 2025 town meeting, I've added Somerset Economic Development Corporation broadband fund question, and explaining the issue of the money given to us to offset the cost of the generator, going back to federal government, what you just said.
Sounds good. So, all set with that, Charlie?
Yep.
Okay, we'll move on to number 5, the CFWF. A, Chris Mann's wages.
I feel, cause, the West Forks County attendants, resigned their positions. And we're going to be, well, we've got an interview tomorrow night, we had an applicant,
Oh, nice.
gentleman from Jackman, I've been covering,
Yeah.
since that. We've decided to bring those folks on board, at the same pay rate that, Gordon and Denise were getting when they left, which is $18.40 an hour.
Okay.
That's where they're going to
Oh,
start.
did Chris?
What
is
were they
Chris no
making?
longer there?
16?
No, so they're making they were making $18.40.
Okay.
Chris makes $17.60.
Oh, yeah.
I think he should be making $18.40. It's the same thing that we're bringing the new person in, once we hire him in for West Forks in the county. He shows up, every Sunday, he's very reliable, he's good with the customers.
So it's an 80 cents raise.
Yeah, and I don't see why he should be making less money.
I don't
than-
either,
I
and
don't-
to hire somebody to
No.
make more than he does when
It's
he's
just
been
not
there
right, it's
is,
just, it just rubs me the wrong way.
yeah,
so.
that's not nice.
That's not even, it's, the job pays. You can't, yeah, they're doing the same job.
Right.
Were you
Uh,
gonna talk about whether or not 2 attendants are even needed in the winter months?
Not right now, that's something that we would talk about at the CFWF meeting at another night.
Okay,
He has agreed that is pretty slow. I mean, one person can manage it right now, and I was like, if we don't hire this person to get somebody in,
You'll lose them.
can we pay him my wages or whoever? I mean, yes, he's double timing, but that's what the Haynes do when they're working for Caratunk. Caratunk pays him and the Forks, I mean, so he's like, we don't need 2 people. There's not enough work for 2 people. But the question is, for me, is what it gets down to is, if we don't hire somebody, then I'm booked for every Sunday, and that's not gonna go on for months and months and months and months, you know what I'm saying? So
I do understand.
then it would be in the winter months, would West Forks pay him to be their attendant, and we pay him as well? And yes, he's making double the wages, but
Good for him.
the money's gonna be spent anyway, you know what I'm saying? And I'm almost to the point, you know what, dude, why don't you just
I can
come
tell you,
and I'll turn my paycheck over to you, like we'll do it kind of like
Right.
unofficially,
so,
but,
yeah.
so.
I'll-
But that's
Let's
something
cross
for-
that bridge when it
That's
comes.
CFWF more.
All right, I'll make a motion that we bring the wages up from 1760 to 1840
And
to
that's
match.
this payroll,
Huh?
this payroll pending, cause he's on the payroll for this
No,
week.
no, start next.
Starting next week.
Next pay period, okay.
I've already done the
Let me
one.
finish my
Okay.
motion.
Okay, sorry. Just like home, right?
Yeah, fine. Trying to make this, I'm gonna make a motion that we bring the wages for the CFWF attendant from 1760 to 1840 to match the West Forks, pay scale.
My second.
All in favor? Okay, now we can have a discussion.
I already know my answer. Thank you.
All right.
The next thing has to do with charges for bulky items. I know we've talked about this somewhat informally in the past. And it kinda came to me thinking of, well, did we technically budget for, Chris's wages to increase to $18.40, and we're not that refined, that's not built into our budget to do that, at least this year. I really think we should look again at charging for bulk